Hey everyone, welcome to a Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be talking about chapter 1113 of One Piece Stalemate. Sorry I've been MIA for quite some time. Life has been hectic. Also, we had the hiatus, but I'm super excited to review this chapter because we finally get the message that Vegapunk has been blueballing us with for all these chapters. So without much ado, let's get into this review. All right, I'm super hyped for this chapter. I have been not so, enthused about the setup chapters. Not because they were bad, just because I was just so anticipatory of the big reveal that it was all that was on my mind, and I couldn't get past anything until we had this reveal, and we finally had this reveal, and I can't wait for the next chapter where we delve even deeper into it. But let me start off with the beginning of the chapter, and I'm just going to kind of talk about some of the encounters. I'm not going to go into the chapter as a whole. I just want to talk about some of the matches and some of the things that are happening. So Mars gets to where he needs to be. He sees the Dendemushi, destroys it, but then there's another Dendemushi either besides it or under it. It seems like it was a decoy. So it seems like no, he was unable to stop the transmission. He quickly asks, hey, can we destroy the power reactors or the power core or something to that effect? And he's immediately told no, because they that will destroy the whole island, and if they destroy the whole island, they're not going to be able to create the mother flame. And we can only assume at this point the mother flame is either a weapon or a power source for a weapon, which is most likely what they used on Leloucia, right? So pretty much the cat is out the bag. Vegapunk wasn't going to go down lying down. And unlike Ohara, where they went out like a whisper, they never got to reveal the name of the ancient kingdom, which I have a joke about at the end of the video. Let's see if I can remember to say it. But he's able to, despite dying, get his word out anyway. When also something else I want to mention is once Mars gets to the top, he sees this big, science tube. You know the stuff that when you're watching science fiction, you usually see clones gestating in or whatever. Is it gestate? I don't know. I digress. Those little like healing chambers, like the one Goku was in, right? And there is Vegapunk's head. For those of you that don't know, sometimes I stream on Twitch. I don't do it a lot now, but I'm thinking about maybe changing that up a little bit. And so I decided, because I didn't really want to do a whole video last week, to just do a little bit of a stream of me reading it, commentating. And one of the things I said in that stream of 112 was that what if the voice he's hearing is actually Vegapunk's brain, right? I was like, we never really figured out what he did with it. It doesn't look like pieces of it are put into the separate satellite. So maybe Punk Records is actually composed of Vegapunk's brain, and that's how like they all work. And his little Apple thing is just some kind of receiver that sends and receives signals from Vegapunk's actual brain. And looks like I was right. Turns out that is the case. And on top of that, I'm also wondering if, because there is a soul in One Piece, but your knowledge, your memories, all that stuff is stored in your brain. I'm wondering, just because Vegapunk's physical body is destroyed, is Vegapunk actually dead? I know he said he set this up so if his heart stopped, whether it be he was executed or tried and murdered and whatnot, blah blah blah. And it just seems to me as though there may be a possible way for him to come back because his brain is still very much functional, but who knows? Or it would be him in a different form, similar to like the satellites as a whole in general, and what he was trying to explain, clones being unquestionably human. So as this announcement is taking place, we get little side-by-sides, little images, what have you, of just, different people's reactions all around the world to what's happening, their takes on it. We see Hachinosu. I think we see Water 7. We see Syrup Village. We see so many places, right? And they're all just, talking about who Vegapunk is, asking about, getting the monitors, wondering what could be going on. Hachinosu cracked me up a little bit because, some of them are actually trying to figure it out, but, that's like, the home of pirates. So a lot of them are like, I don't give up what's going on with that. Uh, you looked at me sideways and like I want to deal with that right now type shit. So that was really interesting. One of my favorite reactions actually is Morgan's is flipping a shit because he's like, you can't just give out news for free. You got to charge people. What are you doing? What is this going to do to the print industry? And I think it's hilarious. And I hope that Morgan's is the entrepreneur that I believe himself to be. And we'll see this as an opportunity to branch out and start, trying to do visual media as opposed to just written media, right? I think part of the reason why it doesn't exist in the first place is it's hard to disseminate information. It's easier to lie with words than with video, right? And so maybe that has been part of the world government's plan to not introduce video denimushi and the like into the world of One Piece. And so, he kind of just went with the status quo. This is what's acceptable by the world government, and just had written speech. So now maybe we might see something in the future where, okay, now we're starting to see more video. Now we're going to start to see more islands and stuff start to invest in visual Mushi because of what we were shown. This is going to, like, this announcement is going to rock the core of the very world. And I think people are going to want to be ready for the future. I think they're going to start understanding that they've been lied to, that, they don't know everything that they need to know, and they're going to want to be prepared. And this is going to change, like we said, the events, like the narrator said, the events of Egghead are going to shake the entirety of the world, and it's going to be a multifaceted reason. Like, it kind of reminds me how when people talked about Whitebeard could destroy the world, we kind of realized later on, like, not literally, but the chain reactions that his earthquakes would create would destroy the world. And it's kind of like this. It's not just Luffy fighting the Gorosei. It's not just all these things happening. It's just the reverberations and the aftershock that these actions are going to cause. That's what's going to make everything crazy. So anyway, while this announcement is going on, we have so many fights going on, so many matchups. Sanji shows up to save Juribani. He gives Venus Juro this amazing kick to the head. He's like, I don't care if you're an old geezer, you're not touching Bonnie. And we have this really sick, really cool moment where he immediately snaps his head back in horse form and bites the ever living shit out of Sanji. Sanji is getting chewed up. I can only assume he's in his little like cyborg form. Oimo and Kashi are trying to wrestle Venus Juro, and it kind of gives you this idea of just the scale of Venus Juro, just like how massive he is, because he's able to fit the entirety of Sanji's body in his mouth, and you kind of see Oimo and Kashi kind of like trying to like wrestle him down. So he is quite large in this form. I forget what the vengeance horse is called. But yeah, these are massive creatures. And then Juribani shows up and she sees a giantess future, and she's able to change into a giant and goes over to help Sanji. And I like to think that at this point in the story, her powers are going to be at their peak. She's met her fucking god. Her faith has been, not only restored but verified. And so to her, like, the sky's the limits right now, because her ability is literally only limited by her imagination, similar to Luffy. So now, now that as long as she's with Luffy and as long as she keeps seeing that like anything is possible, literally any future will be possible for her to mimic with her devil fruit. And I'm very excited to see what happens with that. Now we have some other Straw Hats accosted by Saturn. We got Robin, Chopper, Usopp, Brook, and Nami, right? And Saturn immediately recognizes Robin. He's sick and tired of the thorn in the side of the world government that she's been, and he's going to handle things right now. Robin is fucking terrified. She is shook. In fact, she even recognizes his voice, and she's just freaking out. Nami immediately notices this, immediately notices the danger that she's in, and immediately tells everyone, protect Robin at all costs. And our Straw Hats do not disappoint. They all assemble, they all get into order, and they all protect Robin with their lives. You see Chopper go into guard point, block one of pincers. You see Zeus come out and block another. I don't have any idea what Usopp shot or what his shot did, but you see him do something, and then it looks to me, which if this is true, is crazy. Brook actually freaking cuts off one of Saturn's legs. So if that is the case, that is fucking fire. But that honestly, that was a moment for me that like touched me so much because it was like great to see just this group of friends, these comrades actually like looking out for her. You know, the fact that Robin has had no one and this is her found family and they've always promised to protect her no matter what. And they're like going through on this promise. They're showcasing that like it was more than just words. Like that really like everything she's been through since like Alabasta to Water 7. Oh my god, is incredible. So anyway, I just want to cut to the chase and I want to get to the most important part of the chapter, and that is the reveal. And Vegapunk reveals, well, okay, two things. First, before I get to the reveal, I want to talk about the fact that Vegapunk himself talks about how it doesn't matter who kills him. He doesn't want, you know, any debates about good or evil. He doesn't know enough to determine that. So I like that Oda is trying to give us some sort of context in terms of like how to view the world government, how to view the Gorosei, how to view him. There seems to be like a big picture going on, and because of the news that gets revealed, maybe we have no clue what's going on. Maybe this is some kind of tragic hero. We have no clue, and Vegapunk says, no matter what, just keep your like mind open. Now, part of me originally when I first read this, I thought he was talking about the Straw Hats, like, hey, they might accuse you. They might accuse. They might try to frame them. Don't judge for your blah 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 yada yada. But that does not seem to be the case. But it works either way. Just no matter how I die, keep your mind open, ask questions, and you know I'm not qualified to talk about good or evil. Just you know something's going on, and a big part of One Piece has been you know your creations aren't necessarily like responsible for what they're used to do, but you should love them regardless, right? So anyway, like I said, end of the chapter. Most important thing, right? The thing that we have been waiting for over a month now is we found out that the entire world of One Piece is going to sink underground, and that was such a tremendous cliffhanger to leave on. They left us with so many questions, left us with so many reveals. The first thing that came to my mind though, because I am immature and petty, was I was like, Fishman, your time is now. Back then they didn't want us. Now hot, they all on us. Yo, the Fishmen are gonna be commodity numero uno. They were treated as slaves and now they're big pimping. Yo, I was inspired to make some memes, bro. But like honestly, like like I could just see the memes now. I could just see the memes now, like you know, Fishmen after hearing news of Fishmen after hearing news of like the world sinking.
I see this as an absolute win.
Like if I was them, I would really be feeling myself. I would be feeling myself like this.
If I was a bad bitch, I wanna fuck me too. I wanna suck me too. I wanna suck me too. If I was a bad bitch, I wanna hunt me too. I wanna trap me too. No freaky that I wouldn't do to me. I wanna fuck me too. To me, I wanna suck me too. To me, I wanna suck me too. To me, if I was a bad bitch, I wanna hunt me too. I wanna trap me too. No freaky that I wouldn't do to me.
Yo, tell me that song isn't wild, but fire though. That track is. Don't get me wrong. When I first heard, it, I was like, "What the?" But like, that song goes, and I love that I found an excuse to marry it with One Piece. So like, I'm sorry, but that's great. But like, come on, be real with me. You don't see the Fishmen just chilling there, like. Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. Back then they didn't want me. Yo, that shit is too funny. So something I really wanted to talk about really quickly though was the fact that earlier I was talking about how Vegapunk says whoever kills me, you know, don't automatically assume they're evil, they have malintent, yada yada, blah 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 blah. And something I was just thinking about as I was doing this edit was maybe it's a situation where there has to be a purge in order for this to happen, right? And so maybe with the whole game of the gods thing that happens what like every 14 years, maybe every 14 years they pick an island that's supposed to be exterminated, right? Because what ends up happening is because maybe gradually the sea levels rise and they're aware that, eventually the water will subsume all of the land masses. They have to like evaporate or get rid of the um the water. And so what they end up doing is using the mother flame, or is it Pluton that we think is the sky weapon that it's modeled after? Not no Uranus. I think we think it's Uranus. Yeah, so they use that, and every 14 years or something they pick some island, even though I can't imagine why it wouldn't be able to be done over like a water mass, but maybe there's some logic to it. But basically, they have to do these laser beam strikes to create those voids in the world that drain the water and maybe also evaporate them and make the sky clouds. I, for the longest time, have been making theory after theory about like sky clouds and uh, pyrobluin and stuff like that, and thinking how like pyrobluin was used for making the what are the junks called? Well, they're used for sea stone, I believe, as well. But I was thinking how they're used for the poneglyphs. Like maybe all this is connected to how the poneglyphs are made, how sea stone is made, and finally how sky islands are made. And like this process is what creates all that stuff. And the ancient weapons aren't actually weapons. This just goes back to like things not being utilized how they were intended to be utilized. They're not weapons, but they were like this mass extinction avoid like Ragnarok avoiding plan, and they were made in order to mitigate everything going on, and the powers that be took over these items and instead twisted and contorted their use for their own subjugation. So like yes, they still do the the every 14-year purge to keep the water levels down, but they also use it as a tool of fear, where maybe while at the same time keeping the world alive, we can coincidentally, destroy people that are making, life harder to live with, or harder for us. Who knows? And some other things I just wanted to touch on, like also, is the fact that like you have Shanks, for example. I know I touched on Riley and Crocus. What about like Shanks? Was a member of the Rogers Pirates. He also may know the truth of the world. Maybe might know that the world is sinking, and so because of that, that's why his entire crew doesn't eat devil fruits, or at least as far as we know, maybe they do. But like that's been a big thing that like Shanks' crew doesn't really utilize devil fruits, and this might be a reason why. And so there's just so many things that are going to be important to the series, what's that tequila, like the is it Tequila Wolf Bridge? Is that what the name of the, or am I might be fusing people's names, but let's just call it Tequila Wolf. The Tequila Wolf Bridge that they're making, like how tall is that? When they say flood, like so many things are coming together, and I'm so excited to see like Oda's Grandmaster playing with this. So like yeah, it's incredible. Like shout out to the fishermen. They're living large. Just it's so crazy, but it also makes me reevaluate so much. Like for example, I always thought that the point of the arc was to take the fishermen to the surface. And one thing that never made sense to me was like, why would the fishermen need an arc to get to the surface? But I was like, maybe that's just like, why we need cars. Like, yeah, we can walk and run places, but cars are more convenient, and we can store our luggage in them. So I always dismiss it as maybe it's that. But what if it's the opposite now, and it's for the sake of bringing humans down under the surface, right? So that would be really, really interesting if that was the case. But then are humans just supposed to live under the surface? I'm wondering other things like, was the world always like this? Did it become like this? Did we drain their ocean level? Where is the water coming from? Stuff like that. I saw a meme the other day that made me question a lot. Like, for example, the two remaining members of Roger's crew that we know of, I think there's others, but the two that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, we have Crocus and Riley. One lives inside a whale. The other is a coding mechanic. So, like, they're in they're in situations where if the world sinks, they're going to be fine. Like there is just so much going on that now needs to be recontextualized with this information that we have. What's going on? We still don't know what's going on with Ennis Lobby. We still don't know what's going on with that spot with the light above it. Um, I'm wondering like more if we're gonna learn about like are the knockup streams, like safety measures implemented to like save islands or like get islands that have sunk back to the surface, and that's kind of what happens. It's like a routine where everything sinks and all these like knockup streams and stuff bring it back and it restarts. The Skypeans, how this affect them. This brings credence to the fact that like in Skypea with the Skypea arc, they talked about Earth being sacred, and of course, Earth would be sacred if everything is covered in water because you can't grow certain things. Yeah, there's ocean vegetation, but it's not quite like Earth vegetation. So there's that. I'm wondering, is there a reason Riley is staying next to Sabaody? Do we need though? We're gonna need those trees in the future. Like, is this all part of Luffy bringing down Fishman Island? Like, there's just so much going on. How does the red line play into this? How was the red line built? Will when the sea floods, will it reach the red line? Is part of the embargo the fact that because it's going to flood, they're going to need all the food that they can store, and because we're depriving them of food, now they're going to be in the same pickle as us when the world floods. How soon is it going to happen? What can we do about it? Does M even care? Does he need underlings? There's just so much going on. Maybe that's the real reason the Celestials are always wearing their like. There are just so much to contemplate and consider right now. It is incredible. Oda, you've done it again. We have Enel at the moon. It makes me wonder if we're all passengers from a different planet. If we all came from like, there's just so much going on, and I'm so excited. And a few days for the next chapter. I don't think we're getting any breaks, but yeah, what an incredible time! What an incredible time to be a One Piece fan. This is what I was waiting for. I knew that patience would pay off. I knew that we would get to this. It was just hard getting through it in the moment, but we're there now. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm a little tired today. It's been a rough week, but I really wanted to get this video out, and I'm glad I did. I promise better videos down the road. I'm planning a bunch of things. I want to do a Patreon. I want to start doing more skits, maybe start doing more TikToks, start doing more shows with a friend. So I will let you guys know everything that's going on. Let me know if you're interested in things with my own life too. I just had I might have mentioned this earlier. I had a tournament earlier in the week, and my students did amazing. So if you want to see some pictures of that, I got those and stuff like that because I'm like a proud parent. I like showing shit off like that too. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. And take care.